Hello, hello. Oh, I forgot to put the title in there. Oh well. Hello, hello. I'm not smearing the crap out of my glasses. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. My name is Renee. Welcome. Tonight we're talking about when bad things happen, we have 3 choices. That's what we're talking about tonight. So, just gonna wait a few minutes and let a couple people hop on, and then we'll get going. Hi, Julie from New Jersey. Or from Jersey. New Jersey, right? Sorry. I am so tired tonight. I have 6 pages from my guides that I'm supposed to talk about tonight. And I'm like, I was supposed to do it last night. And I had water in my basement where I'm living. Okay. And so I ended up just getting on to chat last night. Thank God, because I did not have time to come home and prepare. I literally got home, fed the animals, ate, had a little bit of downtime before I had to hop on. So I was like, I'm glad I decided to share this tonight so I didn't have to come home and prepare because it was a long day. So if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. If you're new here, yeah, I'm living in my brother's basement and we got it just like torrential downpour, right? And so it just started pouring into the basement. Long story. Anyway, this is like the 3rd time that what I call my kitchen has been flooded. But I'm just thankful and still grateful that I have a roof over my head and it's not the rest of where I live, just my little kitchen area. So otherwise I would be homeless. So I'm not going to complain. Alright, so I'm going to wait just another minute and then I'll get started. If you're new here, tell me who you are, where you're from. Can't talk, can't think. Always got to be positive. I try. I really do try. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. Those really do help me, guys. Okay, well, I'm just going to get started because like I said, I'm tired. So let's just get going. If you're new here, my name is Renee. Welcome. I've been on TikTok. Sorry, hold on a second. I don't know who that. Oh. Sorry about that. I got a message and I wasn't sure who it was. So I've been on TikTok since March of 2024. The reason why I started my TikTok is because in September of 2023, sorry. My husband, for TikTok purposes, unalived himself. And that's when I discovered that I had abilities to talk to my spirit guides and other abilities. And so they slowly breadcrumb me to my purpose, which is to help other people through loss and trauma. And if you're not familiar with my story, my husband and I were together for 32 years, married for 30, almost 31, before he decided to check out. We were never apart more than 2 weeks in those 32 years. And so when he first passed, I was a mess. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I wasn't even sure I was going to stay on this planet. And then my youngest daughter said to me, Mom, you understand that your life is worth living, right? And that was my light bulb moment. Thank you. I appreciate that. And so my husband didn't leave me in a great spot financially. And so therapy was out, and I'm the unique girl, the circle that don't fit in the square. And so I knew that group therapy probably wasn't going to work for me either. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to stay here. I have to find a way to heal myself. And so I started to deep dive into, thank you for that. I appreciate that. So I started to deep dive into meditation, into journaling. And that's when I discovered my abilities. The first message I ever got in meditation was, what heals you will heal others. And so that was my breadcrumb to my purpose, my first one. So if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Tonight we're going to talk about, so when I go live, my guides always give me the topic generally. So tonight we're talking about when something bad happens, we have 3 choices. And so just know I only have 2 rules here. I just ask that you always be kind. And the second one is we talk absolutely no politics here. Just not at all what my page is about. And I always like to say I'm on my journey of life where I am, and you're on your journey of life where you are, and none of us are going to agree on everything. So we agree to disagree here. And if you can't do that, I just ask that you hop off and keep scrolling. And I want to say that we are absolutely not shy here. My page depends on you talking to me. Unfortunately, sometimes TikTok likes to hide my comments, and there's not a darn thing I can do about it. So if you ever have a comment and you're here and I don't read it, that means I'm not seeing it. So, if it's ever really important, you're always welcome to message me and I'll get back to you after. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, don't be shy. We're not shy here. You're never interrupting me. My page is your page. I created this page not only to tell my story and to help people with loss, but so people knew that they weren't alone. I felt very alone in the beginning, and I never want somebody to feel that way. So, anyway, we're going to go ahead and get going. So, when something bad happens, we have 3 choices. We let it define us. We let it destroy us, destroy you, or we let it strengthen us, or we let it strengthen you, right? Let it define you. What does that mean? Allowing a single bad event to become your entire identity and lens through which you view your entire future, right? Cassie, Shelby, North Carolina, struggling with watching your daddy. I can't say that last word because they'll kick me off. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. What seems incomprehensible. I'm very sorry. Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I understand. I literally thought, so my husband will be gone 3 years in September. I can't even believe that it's been that long, or that I even made it this far. But just know that it doesn't have to destroy you. They don't want us to be, they don't want it to encompass our life, right? I always like to say, now that I know that I'm a psychic medium, that, when they come to me, they say they don't want you to be sad. They don't want you to be upset. They're always in a good place, right? My daddy will be gone a year in September. I'm so sorry. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. So if you're not familiar, if you're new here, I do have a YouTube channel also, which is under Scorpio Medium. And I have lots of good videos over there on how to deal with grief if you're not dealing with it. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to message me and I would be glad to help you. Thank you for the follow. My mom and dad both passed this month, 3 years apart. Very tough month for me. I understand. September is a tough month for me. It took me 11 years to accept it. I was very angry. Yes, I understand. Anger was the hardest one for me to get over, other than the PTSD of that day, because I found him. So I had to come back to Iowa because this is where he did it. He did it at my mom's. So I had to come back here to deal with it. And I walked through that day and that pain, and my guides healed me. So just know that it is possible. Thank you for sharing, you guys. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the rose. I appreciate that too. And if you guys can just keep tapping that screen, those hearts really do help me. So I'm just going to keep going. You can just keep talking to me. Hopefully I won't miss anybody's comments. Thank you. I appreciate that. So instead of seeing the event as something that happened to you, my guides showed me how to change my perspective. And in my case specifically, everything that I've been through in my life happened for me, not to me, right? And generally that's how it is. It's for us to learn something generally. And we're going to talk about that. Thank you. Sorry, I've got this runny nose suddenly tonight too. Ugh, I'm sorry. Let me go back. It's going so fast. I'm so sorry. My dad went through that as well. I felt terrible for him. Yeah. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's not an easy thing, but what we're going to talk about tonight is it doesn't have to define you. It doesn't have to destroy you. They don't want that to happen, right? So seeing that as something that happened not to you, shift how what happened can teach you something, right? Generally, everything we go through in life is to teach us something. We're here to learn. I always look at life as like one big school, right? And we're here to learn different lessons. That's what we sign up for when we sign our soul contract to come here before we're born. We already know what we're going to do, what we're going to learn, and that's why we come here. Stop letting the mistake, the trauma, or the loss dictate your self-worth. A lot of times we do, right? Choices dictate your self-worth and your choices. Stop assuming that because something bad happened once, that your future is locked into that negative pattern, right? And this doesn't apply to everybody in everybody's situation. Just take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But a lot of times, I know when childhood trauma happens to people, they take that and they believe that that's going to dictate the rest of their life. And it doesn't have to. Any more than what my husband did 3 years ago doesn't have to dictate the rest of my life, right? You can heal and you can learn from it. So if you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. Welcome. Tonight we're talking about when bad things happen, we have 3 choices. Stop letting negative events define you, right? And that's been really hard for me because my negative event, or what you would say is my negative event, Cindy, hi, Florida, welcome. In a way does define me because it's kind of created my purpose, right? Or shoved me into my purpose. I'm Philip from Georgia. Hi, Philip from Georgia. Welcome. I'm glad to have you here. Separate the event from your worth. A lot of times, I do have kids. I have 4. I have 3, and then my husband had a daughter, so I have a bonus daughter. So yes, they're all grown. And I have 9 grandbabies, and he met them all except for the number 9, sadly. But I swear he knows Papa's around all the time. I lived with him 2 different times after he was born, and there was always times where it's like he would just be staring off, and I would say, "Is Papa here? Is Papa talking to you?" And he would just smile and he would laugh, So they know, kids know. They're not brainwashed until later that doesn't happen, right? Anyway, so know that whatever you went through, whether it be a loss or a trauma of any kind, it doesn't define your worth, right? For me, I struggled with that, and you wouldn't think that it would define my worth because of what happened. So if you're not familiar and you missed the beginning, my husband unalived himself 3 years ago in September. And I could have let that define my worth, because I lost everything. My entire world of 32 years just crumbled in the blink of an eye. And I had no say. I had no say whatsoever. I lost everything. And so, I'm in my brother's basement and I'm starting over and I'm learning, a new life and a new normal and all of these things. And I could have let it go. It's easy to compare, right? And we've talked about that on other lives. Don't compare. Don't compare your life to somebody else's, right? You don't know what they've went through to get to where they are. But, I easily could have said, somebody in my shoes at 52, they're established and they have houses and they have all of these things, right? Which I just say now, since my husband's passed, it's just stuff. Stuff isn't important to me anymore. Thank you for sharing that live. I appreciate that. But I could easily define my worth by going, I don't have anything, you know? And I have. I'll be completely honest with you. You know, there's times where, you know, I feel like, you know, when I'm talking to new people as in gentlemen, you know, I don't have anything to offer, you know? And so I feel like, you know, that kind of defines your worth in a way, right? Yes, I have family. But it's hard because it's like, I feel like, you know, at my age, I should have something to offer other than love. And that's all I've got. And 3 pets. That's all I have to offer. Right? You know, but I know that's not all. I'm making a point. But it can easily, it's easy to slip into that, right? And think that whatever you went through defines your worth, and it doesn't. So just know that. Let's see. Change your language. Wait, I gotta go back. Hold on. Remind yourself this is a chapter in your book, not the whole story, right? And that's the thing, is I have to remind myself sometimes daily that this isn't my whole book. This is just a chapter in my book right now. And eventually I'll be able to write another book. And I'm actually in the process of writing books. But you know what I'm saying. So, okay, so change your language. What you talk about, you bring about. And that was something that I learned a long time ago. When my kids were little, I did Mary Kay. That allowed me to stay home with my kids. And my Mary Kay director said that all the time. What you talk about and what you think about, you bring about. And that is so true. That it's a way of manifestation, right? You manifest. And so if you're constantly thinking the negative and the bad's going to happen, that's what's going to happen. Because what you think about and you talk about is what you bring about. So that's why it's so important to change your language and talk about what good is coming, and always try to be positive, right? Because, you know, when you do that, then good comes and positive comes. So that's something very important that I learned early on. Thank you for the heart, me. I appreciate that so much. All right. So shift from I'm not worthy to I'm lucky. Or I should say, let me back up. I'm not worthy, I'm not lucky, to I am going through a difficult time, right? So sometimes instead of saying these things, right? Because what you don't understand is what we put out into the universe comes back to us. So when you tell the universe, I'm not lucky, cancel, 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 another thing I learned in Mary Kay, you're telling the universe that you're not. And so it brings you more of that, right? So if you say, instead, replace that with, I am going through a difficult time, right? Don't put out that negative talk, because the universe really just doesn't know that you're not serious sometimes. Remember time, moment. This time, this moment is temporary, right? So whatever it is that you're going through right now in this time, right now in this moment, and this is another hard one for me, and this is probably why they give me this to talk about tonight, because every time they give me something to talk about, it's something that I've been through, I'm going through, or I'm going to go through, and they're trying to get it through my head. So know that whatever it is that's going on in your life right here, right now, it's temporary, right? It's not something, like I said, it's just a chapter. It's not your whole story. It doesn't define who you are for the rest of your book, the rest of your life, right? Sorry, something bit me. Now it itches. Okay. Let's see. Take away, this is something that happened, but not who I am, right? It doesn't have to define you. It doesn't have to define who you are, right? So, yes, I'm the widow whose husband unalived himself, but I don't have to use that as something that defines me for the rest of my life, right? In the very beginning, yes, in a way it did define me, because that's kind of what created, started me on my path to my purpose, but other things are coming for me, and it doesn't have to define me. You can't start the next chapter if you keep rereading the last one. Exactly, Jessica, exactly. And that's hard. And that's where my guides are trying to, they've been telling me since, last summer, hi, how are you? I'm trying to get away from that. My whole story is about my husband unaliving himself, right? Now it's about my purpose of helping other people and making sure other people aren't alone. And I have a lot of other goals and dreams that I know that are coming. Thank you, Jessica. There's a heart back, sweetie. And that's going to be me. That's going to be my goals and my dreams and my life, where what happened with my husband is just a small part of my story, right? That's just a small chapter. It isn't going to define my entire book or the rest of my life. And I'm going to make sure of that. And that's why I've done the work. I've put in the work to heal myself, because I don't want it to define me. I didn't want it to destroy me, because it almost did. I'll be 100% honest, and you can ask my friend. There was times where it almost did. Just the PTSD of that day alone almost destroyed me. My friend's on here. She's also my moderator. She could tell you that a year ago in April, I was this close to checking out because the PTSD had gotten to be too much, and I was ready to be done. And if it wasn't for not her, but another friend texted me right at the right moment, I wouldn't be sitting here on this live tonight. So know that it doesn't have to destroy you, and it doesn't have to define you, right? It's not who you are. Thank you. I appreciate that. It isn't who you are. And just know that if you're in that situation, or you're in a spot like that right now, and you feel like it does define you and it is destroying you, know that you're strong. You're so very strong. And you're resilient. And you can move forward from it, whatever it is that you're going through right now. Even as hard as it seems like, right? Losing my husband and losing him in that way after 32 years of my entire world crumbled, was the hardest thing that I've ever done in my entire life. I'd swear to it. I'd swear on a stack of Bibles. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. But I'm doing it. And I will continue to do it. And I will continue to fight every day, so that way I can get on here and I can fight for you and anybody else that needs me. So just know you're not alone. Okay? Let it destroy you, right? You could let it destroy you. Yes, I do have a purpose. So I got to keep going. Means you allow the pain of that bad event or loss completely overwhelm your coping skills, leading to a total collapse of your emotional, mental, and physical well-being, right? And it doesn't have to happen. That doesn't have to happen. Essentially surrendering to the situation. And I almost surrendered twice. Last year and right after my husband left. I almost surrendered. And if it wasn't for my bestie on here, probably even more than that. So just know that you always have a friend, and you always have a community here on my page. And if you feel alone, please just reach out, because you're not alone. You're not alone. My bestie. Essentially surrendering to the situation, letting it break your spirit and halt your life. Don't let it do that. What does that look like? Believing that life will never look good again. And it will. I counsel people every day, that have just went through loss, whether it be a spouse or a child or whatever, right? And I tell them, I know right now it seems bleak. When you're in the beginning of it, it seems bleak. You don't Sometimes you don't know where to turn, or you're like me and your whole world crumbled. And you don't know what that next step is. And it's okay to not know what that next step is. And it does look bleak, and it does, I'm not going to lie. It does look bleak, and it at that moment you think, I'm never going to get through this. But you can, and you will. You can, and you will. Like my grandma always said, where there's a will, there's a way, right? And she used to tell me, she used to say, Nene, there's two types of people in this world. There's those that make a way, and there's those that make excuses. So you need to be a make-a-way person and just keep going, one foot in front of the other. And I know that's hard, because when people told me, Renee, put one foot in front of the other, that's all you got to do. And I didn't know how to do that. I could barely breathe. So I've been struggling for over 17 years. I just keep waking up, even though I'd rather not. Oh, Jessica, sweet girl. I know, whatever it is you're going through, will you please reach out to me? What can I do to help you? Is there something that I can do personally to help you? 17 years is a long time it sounds like you're stuck. The first step is knowing that you're stuck, if you're stuck, and wanting to get unstuck, right? I'm here to help you, and you're never alone, girl. You know that, right? I hope you do. And if you don't, please reach out to me. Because I'll tell you every day, you're not alone. Not as long as I'm here. Not as long as my community is here. You're not alone. Self-sabotaging, right? Destructive behaviors as drugs, drinking, isolating from the world. Now, I isolate a little bit. Sometimes I isolate. That's my thing. But know yourself well enough to know when you can't pull yourself out of it, right? That's the trick, is knowing yourself well enough to be able to pull yourself out. And last year, and for me, it wasn't even the loss of my world and everything. It was just not knowing when I was going to close my eyes, when I was going to see that, right, for the rest of my life. And I'm like, I can't, like I told my bestie, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I can't close my eyes every day not knowing if it's going to just be there. And my guides brought me back to Iowa, and I walked through that day, and my guides they moved that memory in my mind and replaced it with a new memory. So know that it is possible to be healed. Know that. Loss of function. Stopping basic daily care. Not eating, not sleeping. Maintaining hygiene. I know, hold on, I got a gnat. I know I wasn't sleeping for the first year. I barely was eating for the first 2 months. Like I told my kids, I lost a bunch of weight and I felt so much better. It wasn't a great way to do it. Take it from me, right? Not a great way to do it. But, so now we're going to switch, basically giving up essentially. How can we change this perspective and not let this event destroy you, right? Accepting that you're temporarily broken, right? Maybe you're temporarily broken, or maybe you've been temporarily broken for 17 years. That doesn't mean you're broken, okay? If it's been 2 years, 3 years, 4, it doesn't matter. You're still just temporarily broken. University of Iowa. Can you elaborate on that? I've been down there multiple times. Allowing yourself to feel broken for a little while. That's normal. Okay? That is normal. Grieving is not the same as being destroyed. Learn to lean on others. When you know you're struggling, reach out to friends, family, or find support. Like I said, for me, I knew group therapy wasn't going to work, and I didn't have money for therapy. So my friend, meditation, and then my guides, my divine team, we all have a divine team. Lean on them. That's what they're there for. You have angels, you have spirit guides, you have passed over loved ones. They are there for you to lean on, right? God, source, universe, whatever it is you say or believe, right? Lean on that. Focus on the moment, the present. And, that was the hardest thing for me, because I kept hopping into what I wanted to say is my future, right? Like, what is the future going to bring now? What am I going to do? I don't know how to do this, or how am I going to figure this out? Because he kind of left me in a pickle in a couple different ways. And here's the thing. Had I just stayed in the present and not worried about it, because most of those things that I was stressing about didn't come about anyway, because they kind of worked themselves out. So, I really stressed and worried about things in the future that I didn't need to. So I just needed to stay present. If you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. Welcome. Tonight we're just talking about when something bad happens, we have 3 choices, right? We can let it define us, let it destroy us. What was the other one? Suddenly, sorry guys, I'm so tired tonight. Or let it strengthen you. So try to stay in the moment, right? Because that's all we truly have. The past is gone. Tomorrow isn't here yet. So present, right now, in the moment. What do I need right here, right now? Let's see. In the very beginning, like I said, I barely could breathe. You're from Indiana. Welcome. Glad to have you here. In the very beginning, I could barely breathe, and so for me, the first 2 weeks, it was literally like minute to minute, hour to hour. And then it became, just getting through week after week, and then finally getting through a month, and then eventually, a couple weeks, a month goes by, and another month, and then a year. And so take it how you need to take it. If you can only take 1 day at a time, or 1 minute at a time, or 1 hour at a time, that's okay. It's okay. Allow yourself to do that. And just allow that temporary brokenness. Okay? Let it strengthen you. What does that look like? For me, it was turning my pain into power. Using what happened to me in my situation to be able to help other people. PA. And that's what I call turning pain into power, right? I'm writing a book about it. I'm setting up courses to be a life coach, to help other people through. I'm using what I went through to help somebody else, right? Turn that pain into power. Using that pain as a catalyst to build a deeper resilience. Building optimism. Accept reality. That's not forcing positivity or pretending the situation is good, but finding the good. What am I learning from this? What have I learned from this? How is this happening to me? Instead of that, why is this happening for me, right? What can I learn from this? Accept what happened, but by finding a purposeful path forward, right? So for me, my purpose forward now is to help other people through loss and trauma, and uplift others. That's what I do, right? That's my purpose. That's what I love to do. That's what I will do for the rest of my life. Let's see. It helped me to heal and move forward, right? So when my guide said, Renee, you're going to get online and you're going to talk about your story, that's what I did. So I got online and I started telling people about my story. And, my friend and I talked about this many, many times that first year. I said, I feel like a fraud because, my guides kept saying, Renee, you need to get online and you need to help people. And I'm like, how can I help people? I was a hot mess myself. I keep making counseling appointments, but then chicken out and cancel them. Well, Jessica, it comes down to the point of, are you tired of being stuck? Right? Maybe let me just throw this perspective at you, because here's the thing. Sometimes we need to change our perspective. Maybe you're chickening out on those counseling appointments because maybe that's not the right thing for you, right? Maybe you need a support group. Maybe you need one-on-one with doing something else, meditation, journaling, going to a retreat where you can escape life and deal, right? That's my goal. Someday I'm going to have retreats where people can come and do that kind of thing and heal, right? So change your perspective on it. Really be honest with yourself. First of all, are you ready to be unstuck? Second of all, be honest with yourself. Why are you chickening out? Is it one of those reasons that I mentioned, or is there something else? That's the thing with healing. One, you have to feel it to heal it. And two, you have to be completely honest with yourself, right? You can't lie to yourself. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Or, oh, I'm not doing it because of this. Be completely 100% honest with yourself. No, I just don't want to do it. I'm not ready to do it. That's being completely honest with yourself, right? Or I'm not ready to deal with the pain. That's being completely honest with yourself versus saying, no, I don't have time, or it doesn't fit into my schedule, or the kids need me, or I can't do it because of this or because of that. That's not being honest with yourself. Doing the real work and healing is being completely 100% honest with yourself at all times. Okay? So just be honest with yourself and figure out what's going on, right? If you need help, you need to talk to me. We need to discuss, maybe I can help you somehow. Send me a DM. Okay? All right. Let's see. So, what I was saying is, so I felt like a fraud because you're so very welcome, sweetheart. I would get on here, and I was supposed to be helping people, and maybe I probably was, but I was a mess. I was a hot mess, But what I've learned in my almost 3-year journey is that my guides knew what they were doing, because now I know when I was getting on, yes, I was helping people, but I was also healing myself, right? Like I said, like I've told you many times, I'm the resident guinea pig here, right? Whenever we have a topic is something that I'm going through. Nowadays, it's something generally that I've been through. But back in those days, it was things that I was going through, and they were smacking me upside the head going, are you getting it yet? Are you getting it yet? Are you getting it yet? And Renee's going, no, I'm not getting it yet, right? And so they would go, okay, so now you're going to get on your live and you're going to talk about it tonight. And so then finally it was like, that was like the 5th time smacked upside the head going, okay, now I get it, right? Because I got on and I shared and I talked about it. So it was healing for me at the same time. Starting a foundation, being able to move forward. For me, like I said, I'm doing the framework to start my future, starting my new foundation, right? My new goals, my new dreams, my new purpose in life. How can you take what happened to you and help others and make it a positive? I know not everybody's cut out to help other people, but I truly feel that when you help somebody else, it helps you. I've been like this forever. What's a few more years? Can I ask how old you are, Jessica? Or abouts? A few more years is, look, you gotta stop, okay, 35. Okay, let's back up the train for a second. Let's look at it this way. You say, what's a few more years, right? Let's change your perspective for a second. What if somebody told you you have a week to live? Do you want to spend the remaining years of your life, whatever? I mean, tomorrow isn't promised, girlie. I mean, you could walk out your door tomorrow and be gone. No regrets. That's what I say. No regrets. Bentley, stop. Sorry, my dog's being annoying tonight. Normally I lock him out, but he's figured out how to get in. That's the thing, is tomorrow is not promised, and you only get one go around in this life, right? Make the most of it. Please reach out to me and let's figure something out. Let's get you unstuck. Please. So like I said, how can we take it to help others and make it a positive, right? And I know some people are like, I'm just not up for helping other people. And that's fine. But even if it's just helping one person, right? I always feel if you're helping one person, you're helping yourself. You're good at your promise. I would say 17 years says you're not. And don't forget that I'm a psychic medium and I'm very, very intuitive. Just saying. So maybe journaling what happened to you and how you handled it to help others, right? So maybe all you're capable of doing today is journaling about what's going on, right? Starting a journal. So eventually someday down the road, that journal could help somebody else. Your words could help somebody. So the takeaway tonight is reevaluating what and who is important in your life, right? That is important. For me, no. Establishing for me, okay, what was my new normal? And figuring out all of that. Okay, hold on. Get up here. Hurry up. Over there. Sorry, he always lays on my cord and then he'll unplug my light. Establishing a new plan of action, how to move forward. And here's the thing, Jessica, you don't have to have all the answers. If that's what's stopping you is because all you have to know is what you're doing right here, right now in this moment. You don't have to have all the answers. I'm 3 years into this journey and I don't have all the answers. I'm in my brother's basement waiting for the next step. I literally only get the next step from my guides. That's how much I depend on my divine team. I don't know where I'm going. I mean, I have visions of my future, so I kind of know where I'm going. Right now I'm gooning. Can you elaborate? I don't know what gooning is. I'm assuming you spelled something wrong. But you don't have to have all the answers. Just take the first step. And then the next step will come. And then the next step and the next step. Like I said, the first step is just admitting that you want to be unstuck. If you're stuck, right? Admitting that you want to be unstuck, that's the first step. Admitting that maybe you have a problem. That's the first step, right? And then tomorrow comes and you take another step. And then the next day, another step. And then the next day, another step. Right? I don't know. My step was I'm coming back to Iowa to heal my PTSD. And I've done that. And that was, I healed at the end of February, 1st of March. And now we're almost to August. And almost, a month and a half, 2 months ago, I got my next step, which is needed to start doing group readings, right? Well, and he knows better, and I was dragging my feet. And so now I'm focusing on my group readings and my readings so I can get the next step, because I'm hoping the next step is out of my brother's basement. Hey, Marie, how are you? Good to see you, hon. So yeah. Establishing a new plan of action to move forward. So for me, my plan of action right now is getting my group readings going. So if anybody wants to do a group reading, I'll do them over Zoom. Or once a reading, I do one-on-one readings, and you can send me an email to set that up. So as soon as I get those going, then I get my next step, right? So that's my plan of action. Getting my readings and my group readings going. Finishing my book this month so I can get it published next month. And into a place in a happy life in Florida. Hopefully. Thank you for that. That's so cute. Yes, I would like to be in Florida. Veronica is right. That's my ultimate goal. I would like to be, but I'm not sure that's where my guides will send me, Veronica. We do know that ultimately, right? Thank you for those. I appreciate all of them. So let's see, where were we at? New goals, new purpose, new relationship, or building an existing one, right? So for me, I have all new goals, right? I have lots of big goals, lots of little goals, and I'm working on the little goals to get to my big goals. And one of those is finishing my book this month, finally, my first book. I have a second one started, but I had to put it on hold because I'm trying to get my first one done. But yeah, transforming pain into power by sharing your story, your struggle to guide others, right? Like I said, I was on here, I was sharing my story, even when I'm like, I was struggling, but I was still sharing my story to help others. And that's pretty much all that I have. Does anybody have anything else they want to share? Questions? If you're not familiar, I have a YouTube channel under Scorpio Medium. If you're not a subscriber over there, I apologize, guys. I am so tired. I would appreciate it if you went over there and subscribed. I am here right now. I've started back to Monday through Wednesday. That could change. I could be hopping on, guys. Just be aware that there are going to be nights because I give my notice at work, and so I'm full-fledged jumping into my goals and my readings and my group readings so I can get my next step and get out of here. So just know that there are going to be nights that I'm going to hop on. I might just be on randomly, and also during the day there might be some lunchtime talk. So just be aware of that. Thank you, Veronica. I appreciate that, and you so very much. So 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Wednesday. Wednesday nights we're always keeping as our mini read nights. That seems to be the night everybody loves. So hop on Wednesday night if you have hopefully anybody to come through or a psychic question for me. Let's see. Like I said, I do one-on-one readings with people. And if you are interested in that, send me an email, which is down in my bio below. And I'm doing group readings now. So if you're having a group of ladies and you're having some kind of a party and you're interested in having a group reading, I will do those over Zoom. And those will be available like Thursdays, pretty much any day of the week. I'm pretty open. Like I said, I got to get this going. So if you guys know anybody that would be interested in having a group reading or a regular reading, send them my way. So that way Renee can get her next step and get moving out of this basement. Which keeps flooding. So I got to get out of here. And then last but not least, I do have a Venmo down below if you would like to leave me a tip. If you enjoy my content and you would like to leave me a tip, they're always greatly appreciated but never expected. And then last but not least, remember you are not alone. And what you went through or what you are going through doesn't define you. Okay? I hope everybody has a great night. Let's see, today's Tuesday, so tomorrow night's our mini read night. I won't be as tired, so that'll be great. I hope y'all have a great night. Remember to make tomorrow great because it is a choice. I appreciate you and all of your love and all of your support. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have a channel, a community, whatever it's called. You are my family. I appreciate you. I love you. And until we meet again tomorrow night.